Good morning to all. In today's class, I will explain this keyword. This is very, very important. So in the final exam, you may get the questions like this. Explain about this keyword with example, or explain about super keyword with example, or explain about final keyword with example. Like that, we should know all the keywords. This, final, super, and abstract, all these are very, very important. Okay, now in today's class I will explain in depth about this keyword. Already we have used this keyword in the previous programs, but there are many uses of this keyword. That's why in today's class I will explain what are the other uses of this keyword. Okay, so this is a keyword, all lowercase only. Okay, all the keywords are only lowercase letters. Next. So this is a Java keyword. It can be used to represent current class object. So what is the main difference between super and this? These two are very, very important. Unless you understand the difference between this and super, okay, there is no use of studying Java subject. This in Java we use inheritance. So in some programs we use inheritance, and in some programs we will write without inheritance. So there are two ways to write Java programs. They are with inheritance we can write, or without inheritance also we can write. So what is the difference between these two types? Without inheritance means only one class is enough to write the programs. See, if you don't want to use inheritance concept, so we can write the programs without inheritance also. Without inheritance means take only one class. With single class, I can explain without inheritance. Okay. So for writing the programs using without inheritance, only one class is enough. But if you want to write the programs with inheritance, so minimum two classes are required, because one class extends another class. So if you want to write the programs with inheritance, we need to use the keyword, or we must use the keyword extends. So when you want to use the keyword extends to write the inheritance programs, so two classes are must. So between two classes, we use extends keyword. Means class dog extends animal. So here how many classes are there? Class dog extends animal. So animal is one class and dog is another class. So animal is called our super class. Dog is called our subclass. So subclass can access all the members of the superclass as well as its own members. So that is the advantage of subclass in inheritance. So whenever you write inheritance programs, always try to create objects for subclasses only. Why? Because through subclasses or through subclass objects, we can access both superclass members as well as subclass members. Okay, already we have written inheritance programs. Already explained all these concepts in depth. Please read the notes. Okay, so try to understand the concepts. What is abstract, what is this, what is public, what is private. Like that, if you see the already in the beginning, I explained keywords. Okay, there are 58 key reserved words. So are 53 keywords. Try to by heart all the 53 keywords concept wise only. If you take exception handling concept, so there are 5 keywords. What are the 5 keywords related to exception handling? Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. Like that. If you take the access modifiers or modifiers, okay, or if you take the class and object related keywords, like that, already I have given the total list. So try to see the keywords and try to understand the importance of those keywords and write at least one program on each of those 53 keywords. Okay, so this is also a keyword. Super is also a keyword. Now try to understand the difference between this and super. Already I explained. We can write the programs without inheritance and with inheritance. Without inheritance means one class is enough, but with inheritance means at least two classes are required or two classes must. We use extends keyword in inheritance. Next. So when we use this and when we use super is, this refers to the current class object. See, this refers to the current class object. Means to explain the programs on or using this one class is enough. Means to explain the programs using this keyword. Okay, one class is required. Means we can use this keyword only in the case of without inheritance programs. So try to link like this. We can write the programs with inheritance, without inheritance. So without inheritance means one class is enough. Okay, so to explain this keyword also one class is enough. That's why to explain this keyword only one class is required. Means okay, whenever you write the programs without inheritance, there we can use this keyword. Okay, only in the programs without inheritance we use this keyword, because for using this keyword only one class is enough. Means this refers to the current class, because only one class is enough, to explain this concept. That's why for that class we will create one objects now. So this refers to the current class object. But if you take super means inheritance is must. This means inheritance is not required and one class is enough to explain the concept of this. But if you take super, inheritance is must. Okay, when you take inheritance, two classes are must, like dog and animal. Dog is called subclass and animal is called superclass. Okay, so when we use super means to refer the superclass inside the subclass, we use super keyword. So understand the difference between this and super. So for you, or if you want to use super keyword, or if you want to explain super keyword, you have to write inheritance programs only. Without inheritance, you can't explain super keyword. So these two are opposite like that. So without inheritance means only one class is required and use this keyword. With inheritance means two classes are required. They are subclass and superclass. So to refer the superclass inside the subclass, we have to use super keyword. Super means superclass. Okay, this means only current class. That is the difference between this and super. This refers to the current class object. Super means superclass. So to explain super concept, we need to take the programs with inheritance. To explain this keyword, inheritance is not required. With one class, we can explain the concept of this keyword. Okay, that is the difference between this and super. Once you understand the concept of this, now we will see how to write the programs using this keyword and how many ways we can use this keyword. Okay, so this is the Java keyword. It can be used to represent the current class object. That's why only one class is enough to explain this keyword, and that one class is nothing but current class. Okay, now how many ways we can use this keyword? In Java applications, we are able to utilize this keyword in the following 4 ways. These are the only 4 ways where we use this keyword. Try to understand, very, very important concept. Now, first one is to refer the current class variables. Okay, next to refer the current class methods. Next to refer the current class constructors. Next to refer the current class objects. So these are the 4 ways where we use this keyword in Java. So I am repeating. To anyway, this means current class. See, in all the 4 ways I am using current class, current class, current class. So this refers to the current class. Okay, not the super class. Super refers to the super class and this refers to the current class. These two are very, very important concepts in Java. So, what are the 4 ways to refer current class variables, current class methods, current class constructors, and current class objects? Now we will write the programs, okay, using these 4 concepts. First, we will start with the first one, that is to refer the current class variables. Programs are very, very easy, but try to understand the concept. Don't by heart the programs. First one is to refer the current class variables. If you see all these programs, then you can get the in-depth knowledge about this keyword. Like that super keyword already explained in depth. This keyword I have not explained in the previous classes. That's why I am explaining now. Okay. Now to refer current class variables. If you want to refer the current class variables by using this keyword, then we have to use the following syntax. This dot variable name. To refer the current class variables, what is the syntax is this dot variable name. So where exactly we can use this dot variable name, I will explain with program. Next, in Java applications, when we have the same set of variables at local and at class level, okay, then in that case, to refer the class variables, we have to use this keyword. Okay, I will explain the program, then you can understand more clearly. Next, again, first I will explain, after that I will explain the concept. Okay, class A, here int I is equal to 10, int j is equal to 200. You know these two are called instance variables now. So here we can write either instance variables or static variables. Already explained in depth about instance variables and static variables. So instance variables and static variables are defined within the class and outside the block or constructor or method. See the position of these two variables. They are defined inside the class and outside the block or constructor or method. This is constructor, no? You know this is constructor. So these two variables are defined outside the method or constructor or block and inside the class. That's why we can say these two variables are instance variables. Why these two variables are not static variables means these two variables are not declared with a static keyword. So in this position we can, or in this place, we can define either instance variables or static variables. The only difference between instance variables and static variables is instance variables are not declared with static keyword and static variables are declared with static keyword. Now we can say I and j are instance variables, means class variables, class level variables. Next I have taken one constructor, parameterized constructor. The name of the constructor and the name of the class are both are same, and here it is a constructor with two parameters I and j. Now you know, no, this is like method only, no, constructor. You know here I and j are local variables. Here I and j are instance variables, means class level variables. These two are local variables, means only the scope of these two local variables is within this constructor only. Once the constructor completes its execution or at the end of this or at this closing brace, there is no memory for the variables I and j. Only the memory for I and j are created here and released at this closing brace of this constructor. That's why I and j are called local variables. Here if you understand, here I and j are local variables, here I and j are instance variables or class level variables. Okay, now I am using the same names for both local variables and also for instance variables. Try to understand, I am using the same names I and j for both local variables as well as the instance variables. Now up to this, okay. Now what I will write inside the constructor is system.out.println I plus space plus j. Means what will be your output, tell me? See, always remember, local variables will be given highest priority over the global variables. You can say class level variables are like global variables. You assume like that when you compare with C language. But these are not global variables. But now suppose that, assume that these are global variables I and j. These are local variables. Now inside this constructor, I am trying to access I and j. Which variables are accessed? Local variables or global variables? So So already you know in the C language, same concept. So inside this constructor, when you want to access I and j, first the priority is given to the local variables. So what are the local variables here? I and j are local to this constructor. First it will give priority to its own variable, that is local variables. That's why when you want to print I and j, the values of local variables I and j are printed. Now we will see what are the values. So next I am taking one more class. Inside that public static void main string, I am to access this constructor, I have to create object for this class A. No? Whenever an object is created, at that time only the constructor is invoked. Already I explained this statement repeatedly so many times. Whenever you create an object for any class, at that time compulsory one constructor must be executed, whether it is your constructor or compiler generated constructor. But in this class, I have written my own constructor, parameterized constructor. How do we invoke the parameterized constructor is while creating the object for that class. Okay. So A is equal to new A of, I am invoking the parameterized constructor with two integer parameters, that is 10 and 20. So whenever this statement is getting executed by the JVM, so from this, it will go to the class A and it will execute the matching constructor. So this is the matching constructor. So what are the values we are sending through this constructor? 10 and 20. So these 10 and 20 are passed to I and j. So here memory is allocated for I and 10 is stored, and memory is allocated for j and 20 is stored. So now the local variables I and j are holding 10 and 20. Now when you print the values of I and j using this system.out.println I plus j, you will get the values 10 and 20, not 100 and 200. Why? Because always local variables will be given the highest priority over the global variables. You know this concept in C language, here also same concept. So local variables will be given the highest priority over the instance variables. That's why here when you want to print I and j, only 10 and 20 are printed. Okay. Next, what is this system? Now here the question is, when you want to print, means we are printing only here local variables now. But inside the same constructor, I want to access the instance variables also. I want to print the instance variables also. But here I am unable to print the instance variables because this constructor is giving the highest priority to its own local variables. Because of that reason, only I and j means 10 and 20 are printed. But here I want to print the instance variables which are having the same names as variables. Then how do I print the instance variables inside this constructor is using this keyword. That is the first advantage of this. When local variables and instance variables are having the same names, then inside the constructor or method, here you can take method also. So in place of constructor. So inside the constructor or method, if you want to print the instance variables, then always this method or constructor will give priority to its own variables. That's why only local variables are printed when you print I and j. But still here I want to print the instance variables also. So how do I print the instance variables in this case is using this. What is the syntax for accessing variables with this keyword? This dot variable name. So I am using the same syntax. That's why this dot I and this dot j. So here I and j means local variables 10 and 20. This dot I and this dot j means instance variables 100 and 200. So the output for this is 10, 20 and 100 and 200. So again I am repeating, when the local variables of any method or constructor, okay, or of the local variables and instance variables are having the same names, then to access the instance variables inside either that method or constructor, we have to use this keyword. That's why this dot I will give you 100 and this dot j will give you 200. So this is the first program using this keyword and it is applied to variables. So to refer the current class variables. So one more point here, how many classes I have taken? Only one class. What is that class? Class A. So here this dot I is nothing but this one. This refers to the current class object, no? So what is the current class? Here we have only one class, that is A. So current class is an object is nothing but new A. In the first, see here I have explained. So here in Java application, here not this one. So this is a Java keyword. It can be used to represent the current class object. So that's why whenever you write this, it refers to the current class object. No. So here we have only one class, that is the current class. With respect to only one class, I am explaining this keyword. So this dot I, what does it mean? This refers to the current class object always. So what is the current class? Here A. What is the current class object? New A. Right hand side is the object creation. No? So new A dot I. New A dot I means what is this? What are the values of I and J? 100 and 200. Like that, this refers to the current class object, and this dot I means it is referring to the current class, this instance variable I. So this is the first advantage of this. Next, here when you want to write Java Beans programs, that is advanced concepts, we use setter methods and getter methods. Setter method means to set only one value, and getter method is to get only one value. So here you can understand this program on your own, no need to explain anything. Already we have written the same program. Class employee, int employee number, string employee name, float employee salary, string employee address. Here I have 4 instance variables. Inside the object, only instance variables are stored, remember. Now, already we have used in the previous programs a constructor with all these 4 parameters. No? That is employee of 4 parameters, int employee number, like that. But here when you want to write Java Beans programs, we have to use setter methods and getter methods. So the purpose of setter methods and getter methods is to set only one value for only one instance variable at a time. It will take only one value at a time, or one parameter at a time. So here, to set the values to these 4 instance variables, how many setter methods are required? 4. Because one setter method will set only one value to one instance variable. Like that, to set the values for these 4 instance variables, we have to take 4. Otherwise, instead of writing setter methods, we can set the values to these 4 instance variables using either constructor with 4 parameters or with any method with 4 parameters. Like that also we have written the previous programs. How do we initialize an object is using constructor with 4 parameters. I can initialize the values for these 4 instance variables, or I can use method with 4 parameters. Okay, already they are there, but try to practice setter methods and getter methods also. When you want to write Java Beans programs, you must use setter and getter methods. Okay. Now I will explain only one. In the remaining, you can understand easily. So public void set e number. This is method name only. Setter and getter methods. Okay. Set e number means it is setting the value for this instance variable e number. And inside this, take only one parameter. That is first one. That is int e number. Already explained in the constructor or methods. When you want to take the same instance variables and local variables names same, then already we have used this already explained. When you want to use the instance variables and this local variables, both are the same, both names are same, then in this case we have to use this keyword. Already explained this in the previous programs. Okay, now again I am revising the same concept. So how do this is local variable, no? So whenever you invoke this with this method set e number, I am passing one value like 101. So this is local variable 101. I am assigning that value to our instance variable e number. So this is current class e number. So how do I access this current class e number is this dot e number. Already explained in the previous program. This means new employee parenthesis object. Okay. So this refers to the current class object. So for this e number, I am assigning this value, which is local variable value. This is local variable, this is instance variable. Through using local variable, I am assigning the value to the instance variable, that is this, using this dot e number. Already explained the same concept now here. When you have both, when you have the same names, same concept only here also. When you have the same names for both local variables and the instance variables, how do I access the instance variables is using this dot I. Same concept here also you can observe. Here also we have the same names for both local variable and instance variable. How to differentiate these two is, to refer the instance variable of that class, we have to use this dot e number. To refer the local variable, directly e number. That's it. Both the programs are same and both are explaining the concept of the syntax, this dot variable name. This dot variable name. This variable must be instance variable, class level variable. Okay. Both the programs are same. Like that, how many setter methods I have to take? 4. Set e number, set e name, no space here. This is method name, no space. Set e name. Through set e name, I am setting the name to the instance variable e name. This dot. See, this means try to understand current class object dot e name. Similarly, I have used 5 setter methods. After that, I am using 5 getter methods to print the values. So setter methods, getter methods are very, very important when you want to write the Java Beans programs. Using this only we can set only one value and we can get also only one value. So get e number means return e number. Return type is int. Similarly, get e name, get e salary, get e address. Now class test, I am taking one more class. First, the previous class is employee class. Inside that, I have used 4 getter methods and 4 setter methods. After that, I am writing class test. Inside the class test, I am writing main method. Inside the main method, I have created object for employee class. So through this, using this reference variable, I am accessing 4 times setter methods. Because to set only one value. Using setter methods, we can set only one value at a time. Like that, 4 times we have to write set e number, set like that. Now, whenever you use employee dot set e number of 1111, means from this the control goes to the first setter method. Means this is, here it is 3 ones. There we are sending the value 3 ones now. So that value is assigned to current class e number. Means one object is created now here. One object is created, employee is equal, means one object is created. Inside all the 4 instance variables are stored. So for these 4 variables, we are setting the values through these 4 setter methods. That's it. So if you here also take 101, because here also we have used 101. That's similarly, e name means Durga. Inside the object, e name is set as Durga, and e salary is set as 50,000, and e address is set as Hyderabad. So using the 4 setter methods, we are setting the values for the instance variables inside the object. That's it. Next, in the same way, we can use getter methods to display the values of these instance variables of this object. Okay. Now, using the getter methods, I am printing the values of these 4 instance variables of this object. So you will get the output is 101 Durga, 50,000 Hyderabad, like that. Employee details you will get. Okay. So this is the second program using this keyword, where we are using this keyword is if the local variables and instance variables both are having the same names, then to access the instance variables, we have to use this dot variable name. So this is the first purpose of this keyword. 2 programs I have written using this dot variable name. Okay. Next we will see second. Okay. Now how to use this again using for methods is to refer current class methods. First one is to refer the current class variables. So on that concept I have written 2 programs. Okay. Now second concept is to refer the current class methods. Now I will explain the syntax. So this dot, previously we have used this dot variable name. No? Like that, here use this dot method name of parameter list. This is optional. No? Optional means put in the square brackets. If you want to take parameters, take. Otherwise, no parameters. Okay. So this dot method name of parameters list. Okay. So now I will write one program using this syntax, that is this dot method name. Now here class A. Here I have not written any instance variables. So already explained, class may contain only state part or only behavior part or both. Here there is no state part, means there are no instance variables or static variables, means there is no state part. A class may contain only behavior part. That is also perfectly valid in Java. So in Java, a class may contain only variables or only methods or both. So this is a class which contains only methods. Here what a behavior part. Methods means behavior part. So this class consists of only behavior part. Behavior part is nothing but methods. Here how many methods I have taken? Void M1, void M2. So this class consists of only behavior part. Okay. No instance variables. Okay. Not required always. Next. So what are the methods? I will explain. Void M1. So it is an instance method. Why? Because like variables are of two types, instance variables, static variables. Like that, methods are also two types, instance methods, static methods. Because this method is not declared with static keyword, that's why it is an instance method. And I have taken one more method M2. It is also not declared with the static keyword, that's why it is an instance method. So inside this class here, I have taken two instance methods. One is M1 and another one is M2. Now here I will explain how to use this dot method name. So shall we see the functionality of this instance method M1? So inside the instance method M1, what I have written? System.out.println M1A means this M1 is the method of the class A. Next M2. M2 means from this is the invocation of M2 method. No? So from this the control goes to this M2 method. Okay, either we can write directly M2 like this to invoke M2 method of the same class, or we can write this dot M2, or also we can write A dot M2. A is the reference variable of the class A. So now try to understand this concept. So this refers to the current class or no? Current class object. No? In place of this, substitute new A. New A is what? A is this current class. No? Here I am explaining with respect to only one class. So for me, this is the current class. This always refers to the current class object. That's why whenever you want to write this dot M2, internally this is replaced with the current class object. So what is the current class? A. Current class object means new A. Dot M2. Now means what is the current class M2 method? Current class M2 method is this, no? That's why from this the control goes to this M2 method and this will be executed. When you write only M2, it goes to this M2 method. When you write this dot M2, it goes to the same method. Or if you write A dot M2 also, it will go to the same method. A means I will explain this small a. So this is inside M1. See, inside the method M1, we are invoking the method M2. Both are in the same class. That's why we can use this. This refers to the current class object. Dot M2 means it will go to the same class M2 method. That's it. Now, class test I have taken public static void main A is equal to new A. But first we have to access this M1 method. No? So from M1 only we are invoking M2 method. But how do I access this instance method M1 of this class is by creating an object for that class. Already you know instance methods of one class can be accessed outside the class using only reference variable. That's why first to access the method M1 of this class A, we must create an object for that class A. So this is the object creation for class A. A is equal to new A. After that I will write A dot M1. So A dot M1 means, see here no need to create actually, no need to take the left hand side. Directly we can write this also. These two are one and the same. Okay. Now A dot M1. A dot M1 means it will go to the M1 method. So first M1 method will be executed. As part of M1 method, the first statement is M1A. So the output is first M1A. After that, So we are invoking M2 method from M1. That's why it will go to the M2 method and it will print M2A. So first output M1A. After that, this dot M2. This dot M2 means, so this dot M2 means from this the control goes to this statement and this will be executed. Next A dot M2 also same. From this it will go to this one. So now concentrate on this statement, that is this dot M2 means this refers to the current class object. Using this I am accessing the method of the same class. So please concentrate on this dot M2. Okay. So this dot M2 means it will go to the current class M2 method. So this refers to the current class object. So this is the second purpose of this keyword, to refer the current class methods. So syntax is this dot method name of parameter list. So this dot M2 means from this it will go to this method and it will print this statement. That's it. So this is the second one. What is the third purpose? Third purpose is to refer the current class constructors. This is also very important. Inside one class we can write constructors. No. So to refer the current class constructors, we use this keyword. So current class constructor syntax is, to access the current class constructor, the syntax is this followed by parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, if you want to write parameters, you can write, otherwise it is optional. Previously for variables and methods, what is the syntax? To access the current class variables, we will write this dot variable name. To access the current class methods, we have written this dot method name. But to access the current class constructors, we have to use only this immediately followed by parenthesis. No, there is no dot, remember. So to refer the current class constructors, the syntax is this of parameter list. Now I will explain the program on this concept. So third advantage of this is to refer the current class constructors. Syntax is this of parameters list. There is no dot here, like variables and methods. Okay. Now I will explain the program. Now class A, here I have written one constructor. Is it constructor? See, in this class also there are no instance variables or static variables. Only I have written constructors. In the previous program, in the previous class, I have written only methods, no, like M1 and M2. Here, if you observe this class A, there are no methods also. See, constructors are also behaving like methods. So please assume that constructors or methods both are doing the same. Okay, that's why here under behavior part, we can take either methods or constructors. That's why if you take the previous class, that is A, there we have written two methods. They are M1 and M2. But if you see in this program, if you see the class A, we have only constructors. There are no methods. But please think both constructors and methods are one and the same. Okay. Now here we will see the constructors. Here it is the name of the constructor and the name of the class must be same. Here no arguments, no parameters. Okay, so here this is user defined no arg constructor. Next, what is the other constructor? This is the user defined parameterized constructor and it is taking one integer parameter. Next, this is also user defined parameterized constructor. It is taking one parameter and the data type is float. And it is also user defined parameterized constructor and it is having only one parameter and the data type of the parameter is double. Is it constructor overloading program? Yes, because two or more constructors having the same name and they may differ either in the number of parameters or type of parameters or order of parameters. Here they are differing on the type of parameters or order number also. Here no arg means 0. But if you see the remaining three constructors, they are taking only one parameter. When they are taking the same number of parameters, they must differ either in the type of parameters. So what is the type of this int? What is the type? Float. What is the type? Double. So it is a program on constructor overloading. Okay, so you can write this program for constructor overloading or to explain the concept of this to refer the current class constructors. Now I will explain the current class constructor. So inside this no-arg constructor, I am writing this of 10. What is the meaning of this? Already explained, no? This of, if you want to give parameter, you will give. We can give. That's why here I am using the same syntax. This of one parameter I am taking, that is integer parameter. That's why the value is 10. And already explained inside each constructor, whether it is parameterized constructor or compiler generated constructor, the first statement must be either this or super. That's why this should be written in the first statement only. That's why this of 10 should be the first statement. If you write as the second statement or third statement, this one, you will get the compiler error. So inside each constructor, the first statement must be either super or this. That's why if you want to write this explicitly like this, it must be the first statement, otherwise compiler error. You remember this point, okay? Now this of 10 means, so this of I am taking one parameter. I will explain the concept later. System.out.println, this is which constructor? Yes constructor. Next, I am taking one integer parameter. Inside that also I am using this of, I am using floating point value. Next, system.out.println, yes integer parameter constructor. Next, here also I am using this as the first statement inside this constructor. That is this of 23.32 means double. Yeah, if you say suffix with f means float, this is double. Next, system.out.println. Next, a double. Next, system.out.println a double. So here I have used 3 times. Inside this constructor, I have used this of 23.22. Inside this, I have used this of 22.22f. And inside this, I have used this of 10. I will explain the execution later. Flow I will explain later. First, try to understand. Inside the no-or constructor, I have used this of 10. Again, inside integer parameter constructor, I have used this of 22.22f. Again, inside floating point parameter constructor, I have used this of 23.32. I will explain the flow later. First, try to understand the syntax. This is syntax for, or this refers to the current class constructor. Okay. Now I will explain the flow. So this class is completed. This class consists of 4 constructors. Okay, this class consists of how many constructors? 4 constructors. Now I will explain the flow. Okay, see this here, this class consists of 4 constructors. They are no-or constructor, integer parameter constructor, floating point parameter constructor, and double parameter constructor. After that, I have taken one more class, test, and inside the main method of that class, I have created an object for this class A. See, follow carefully. A is equal to new A. So JVM, when you execute the program, JVM will invoke the first main method. So after that, the first statement is this, no? So whenever JVM executes this statement, already explained, so the one constructor must be executed. Okay, whenever this statement is getting executed by JVM, here this constructor must be executed. That is A of no-arg. Is it no-arg? Yes. So from this, here I have written invokes the constructor A, that is no-arg constructor. So it invokes the no-arg constructor, that is the matching constructor for this one. So from this, the JVM will go to the matching constructor. That is, this is the matching constructor. Now I will explain the code. So what is the first statement inside that constructor? This of 10. Is it integer? Yes. This means current class constructor, no? This is current class constructor. What is the current class? A. Here we have only one class, that is A, that is the current class. So this of 10 means inside the same class, it will search for the matching constructor, which is integer value. This is. That's why it will go to this one. This is the matching constructor. Now I holds 10. After that, so what is the first statement inside this one? Again, this of 22.22f means again it will go to the arrows I have kept. So from this, the control goes to this one, and this f holds this value, that is 22.22 is assigned to this f. After that, this of 23.32. What is the matching constructor in the current class? This is the matching constructor. Means there is no F means double. So this 23.32 will be assigned to this value D. After that, now we are here. Now we will enter into the system.out.println D. Means this 23.32 is stored in D and that will be printed. After that, system.out.println A double parameter constructor. So first this will be completed its execution. So the output is first value is 23.32 followed by A's double parameter constructor. So after completion of this, again it will go to the same statement. What are the followed by statements? If you want to print system.out.println F, what is F value? 22.22 is stored in F now. So next output is 22.22 followed by A's float parameter constructor. Next, after completion of this, again it will go to the this one. Then it will print this I value. What is I value? 10 no? I holds 10 no? So 10 followed by A's integer parameter constructor. Again this is completed. After that it will go to this statement. So what is the followed by statement? A's constructor. So the output is first D value, then this one. After that this F value followed by this state, this one. Next after that I value followed by this one. Then finally it will print A's constructor. So this is the output. So here if you see, this refers to the current class constructor. A is the current class and it is referring to the same class constructor. So this is the syntax for this, which refers to the current class constructor. So already this is the third use of this. So what is the third use? To refer the current class constructor, that is this of that parameter list. Okay. So this is the third advantage of this. Try to practice all these programs. Here I am explaining, if you write this as the second or third statement like that, you will get compiler error. So always this must be the first statement inside the constructor. Otherwise compiler error. You can see these errors also. Okay. Next, last one. So to refer the current class object. Okay. So to return, not refer. This always refers to the current class object only. But here it is returning, to return the current class object. To return. What is the fourth advantage of this is to return the current class object. First one is to refer the current class variables. Third one is to refer the current class methods. Second one is to refer the current class methods. Third one is to refer the current class constructors. Fourth one is to return. See, follow carefully. To return the current class object. What is the syntax for this one? You know, in methods or constructors we can write return statement. No? So return this. So return, to return current class object. That's why return. What is this? This refers to the current class object. No, always. That's why to return the current class object syntax is return this. So here we can write the program like this. So I will explain. Okay, concept. You can see the program. Class A. See here I am writing get ref. It is the method name. No parameters. And what is the return type of this? What is the return type of this one? A. See, A is the return type of this method. So in Java, methods can take objects as parameters, and it can return objects as or it can return objects. So the return type of this get reference method is object. Which class object? A. So here A means so return new A, no? So return new A. This already we know. But why do we write new A? We can write return this. This refers to the current class object, no? That's why both the syntaxes are correct. So get reference method return type is A. A means the data type. The data type is the class. Next, get reference 1. Okay, get no space reference 1. So in the here it is get refer method, get ref method. Here get ref1 method. So here in this, what I am trying to write is return this. Both are correct. Return A or return this. Next, inside this, I am accessing the methods. So A is equal to new A. Create an object for the class A. After that, I am writing system.out.println A get reference means Next A dot get reference, A dot get reference. Next refer 1, 1, 1, like that. So you will get the output like this. So what is happening here is, whenever you write like A is equal to mu A, no? So separate object is created, no? So here if you want to see the reference variable, means reference variables are holding the addresses of the objects, no? Suppose if you want to see the address of the object, then address of the object is stored in the reference variable, no? If you want to see the address of the object, how do we write is, only simply write A. Internally what will happen is, A is converted into A dot toString method. So toString method is available in the object class. You know, object is the predefined class, and every class in Java must extend object class, no? That's why we can directly write, if you write A or A dot toString, both are same. So A dot toString means it will give you the address in the form of this one, class name at the rate hexadecimal representation of that integer value. What is our class name? For which class I have created object A, no? That's why class name at the rate hexadecimal representation of the integer value. Actually here already I have shown many times. Let us take the address of this object is 100, and 100 is stored here, no? 100 is the integer value. Address is always in the form of integer only, which is taking 4 bytes of memory for this reference variable, and 100 is stored here. But when you want to use A dot toString, means this is by default, compiler will add to dot toString for this one. If you write A, internally it will be converted to A dot toString method, which is there in the object class, and for every class, class A extends object class test extends object class. Like that, each and every class in Java by default extends object class. That's why directly we can access toString method of the object class in your class. That's why A dot toString means that the toString method of object class returns the address in the form of class name at the rate hexadecimal representation of the integer value. Now here you may get one doubt. I am saying only integer value. The address of the object is always integer value. That integer value is stored inside this reference variable A, no? Now here you may get one doubt. How do I access the integer address of this object is? For that we have to use A dot hash code. So hash code is one more method in the object class, but A dot toString is by default we are getting. But if you want to access the address in the form of integer, right here system.out.println A dot hash code. A dot hash code. Explicitly we must write hash code, but by default we will get toString. That is the difference between hash code and toString. So if you want to write A dot toString also, correct explicitly. Okay, or implicitly also it is available. Okay, that's why A dot toString will give you the address of the object in the form of class name at the rate hexadecimal representation of this integer value. Suppose if you want to see the integer address, then use A dot hash code. That's it. That is the difference between toString and hash code method. Both are there in the object class. See here I have used return this. So to return the current class object, we can use the syntax return this. This is the fourth advantage of this keyword, that is to return the current class object. Syntax is return this. Here inside this method I have used return this. Okay, so this is the fourth way or the fourth advantage of this keyword. Now last program is this one. This is also same to you, to fourth one only. For the fourth concept I have written two programs, that is return the current class object. See here also I have used return this, return this. This is also easy program. Method chaining, you know, constructor chaining, you know. From one constructor you can go to the another constructor, from that constructor you can go to the other constructor. Already explained constructor chaining in case of inheritance. Now I will explain method chaining. This is also important. Simple only. A. Here I have one method M1. Name of the method is M1, no parameters. And what is the return type of this method? A. Okay, what is the data type of the return type of this is this class type A. Means it is returning the object of this class A. So the return type of the method M1 is A. Okay, next is system.out.println M1A. Next return this. This means current class object. What is the current class? A. That's why new A. Okay, wherever you have this, you can easily replace that this with new A. Okay, you try to practice like that initially. Next, another method I have taken M2 and the return type is same A. And system.out.println M2A, return this. Next, one more method I have taken M3 and the return type is same class type, that is A, and system.out.println M3A and return this. See, I have used return this in M1 method, return this in M2 method, return this in M3 method. Okay. Now I have taken one more method M4. Here only I am printing M4A. There is no statement like return this. Now I will explain this class. Class test public static void main string args. I am creating one object for this class A to access the methods M1, M2, M3, M4. We have to create the one object for class A now to access these methods. So how do I create the object for class A is with this syntax, that is A is equal to new A. See this, you have never seen a statement like this in the previous programs. So try to understand this one. Okay. Now after creating the object for the class A using this statement, that is A is equal to new A, what I am trying to write is previously we have written only this one up to this part. It can be either A dot M1 or it can be A dot M2 or it can be A dot M3 or it can be A dot M4. Only single method at a time I am accessing using this reference variable. But if you see this statement, here 4 methods at a time I am accessing. This is one more new concept we have in Java. Here we have used return this now. Now I will explain this the meaning of this statement. So here I have used 4 methods at a time in the same statement. Now what is the flow for this is A dot M1 dot M2 dot M3 dot M4. First already you know no. First this will be executed. That is A dot M1 will be executed. A dot M1 means what will happen? It will go to the A dot M1 means this will be executed. What is there inside M1 method? First this statement, that is M1A will be the output. After that return this, concentrate on this one. So this method is M1 method is returning the current class object, that is new A. A is the current class. Now so first understand left to right evaluation, remember, not right to left. So when you want to evaluate left to right, A dot M1 means, so first M1 method is executed and as part of M1 method the first statement is M1A. That's why this is the output. After that it is returning this no. That's why it is returning the current class object. What is the current class object? New A. So new A, with this A dot M1 we are getting new A because M1 method is returning the current class object, that is new A. So with this part, that is up to A dot M1 method, it is we are having first M1A is the output. After that it is returning current class object, that is new A with return this. So new A dot M2, left to right evaluation. So new A dot M2 means new A means current class object no. Means A's class object no. A's class object means inside A's class M2 method will be executed with new A dot M2. That's why again it will go to the M2 method and this will be executed. What is there? M2A. So first M1A, then in the output M2A. After that again it is returning this no. Means this means new A. So it is returning new A. Wherever this is there, replace that with new A. So after new A dot M2, see after execution of new A dot M2, we have M2A is printed as output and again it is returning new A. So up to this new A dot M2, we are getting again new A. Again new A dot M3. So what is new A dot M3? Again A's class M3 method will be executed and it will print M3A Again, this is also returning this. Means return, it is returning UA. UA means what? So the UA dot M3 is returning again UA after printing M3A. Again, UA dot M4. UA dot M4. Put one line here also. UA dot M4 means M4 method will be executed. What is there inside the M4 method? M4A only. That's it. That's why here M4A will be printed. So the output is M1A, M2A, M3A, M4A. But how this statement is getting executed is using return this. Using return this. So this is the fourth advantage of this keyword. So these are the four advantages of this keyword. First one is, okay, this refers to the current class variables. Second is, this refers to the current class methods. Third one is, this refers to the current class constructors. And fourth one is, this refers to, this returns the current class object. Fourth one is, this returns the current class object. So if you understand these four concepts, then you will get the full idea on this keyword.